Hello and welcome to Chapter 107 of the DC Alliance podcast. With me, as always, is Clay. Clay, how you doing this evening?
I am doing pretty good. I've kind of had a crazy day. Well, it could have been crazy. As you all know, I am staying with my parents just for a little while longer. I kind of got it all squared away today. So I shouldn't be in this closet too much longer. But I got to spend the day with some family, with my grandparents, and with like the my cousin's kids, and we got to spend the whole day together because my mom is actually trying to sell this house, and so she had a total of 9 showings today. So I
Oh,
would have
wow.
had to like go in and out and in and out and in and out. And so instead, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna grab everything, drive all the way to my grandparents' house, hang out with them, and then I found out, oh, you will be able to record back at the house instead of trying to find a place at my grandparents' house. I was like, cool. Then I can just go run back over here, set everything up, and I'm good. But then also, I shared in the GUA chat. I think I did something to my hand.
Thumb? Thumb probably is probably
Yeah,
stuck
it's
on your
it's
thumb side,
down
yeah.
here. I'm not entirely sure what I did. I just like in the morning, whenever I'm doing like my morning stretches and everything else, like my routine is I just ever since I was a kid, I have always popped my fingers. So I just pop and then pop my
Oh my
thumb.
god.
And when I popped my thumb, it felt like I pinched a nerve. So I was like, oh, that kind of hurts. And then 8 hours later, I finally looked at my hand for the first time and saw that giant bruise. I was like, holy crap, I don't know what I did. So it is what it is. But I mean, I'm here. I'm a little hot, but I got some water and I'm ready to talk some DC. What about you, Heinz?
I have 2 points from what you said. First of all, when you get out of the closet, I'll finally not. Whenever I look at your screen, I'm not gonna lie. The first thing that comes to me is that Eminem song, "Cleaning out my closet." Just because you're in a closet, and it's something that like it just creeps in every once in a while, and I'm like, no, give it up. That's the first thing. And the other thing, a little peek behind the curtain at my growing up, I had an uncle. I will kind of a bit of an arse sometimes. Would go around cracking our fingers and our toes, and would love it, and said that we would get arthritis from that, and he was laughing at it as he was doing it to us. So yeah, just a
That's
fun
kind of
fact there.
like sick. Like
Yeah,
just
a
for
little
the fact
bit,
that
but
he's like,
fun
ha
too.
ha.
Well, fun too because it wasn't just one; it was like 4 or 5. So you were always trying to get away, and the one person would be unfortunate. So yeah, it was
Jesus, it's
fun
like
times. But when
it
you say I
hurts
crack,
now, but wait until you're 80 years old, sucker.
when you said I cracked my
Jesus.
fingers just because, I'm like, oh my god, PTSD start coming back. No, leave me alone. But we have some DC to get into. I have a dog that used the bathroom downstairs last night. Or not a happy camper.
Wonderful.
So besides that stuff, we scraped the bottom of the barrel, listeners. Not gonna lie, there is not much in terms of news. We're even talking about some stuff that's in development, which is something I said we wouldn't do much on this show anymore because when DC says something's in development, the track record is not fantastic for it coming to light. But before we get into all that, let me get the network plugs out of the way. We are part of the Geek Ultimate Alliance Network with 8 podcasts in total. On Mondays is World's Finest True Believers with Chris Balga. That's where Chris and a guest take a look at a comic of a guest's choice. That rotates bi-weekly with Ranger Alliance with Clay and rotating guest hosts of Jake and Joe. That's where you look at everything and anything Power Rangers. On Tuesdays is this show, DC Alliance, with myself and Clay. We got you covered in everything DC. On Wednesdays is Superhero Discussions. Uh, right in the middle of Young Justice right now, so check that out. That'll drop Wednesday. On Thursdays is Star Wars Alliance with Katie and Clay. They get you covered on anything Star Wars. On Fridays, I'm a little disgruntled when I say Marvel Alliance because it's just not fair. It's just not fair. They're over there with fantastic shows that never go
They
on
got
hiatus.
Morbius. They got
No,
Morbius, okay?
no, that's let me put this out to you. They have a fantastic movie universe that they get to watch and enjoy. They have fantastic shows that they get to watch and enjoy that don't have hiatuses that random times. It's just all out there on Disney Plus streaming service. And then they have this funny little step brother there in Sony's Marvel movies that they get to watch and make fun of and be like, ah ha 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 ha, look at these crappy movies, but we get still enjoy this other. So yeah, I get to enjoy all that because I love Marvel too. But in terms of podcasting, we have nothing to talk about really this week besides some fantastic listener questions. So yeah, little soft spot there, but check Marvel Alliance out on Fridays. Love you guys. On Saturdays is a walk through the multiverse with Joe. That's bi-weekly. That's where Joe takes a look at everything that isn't Star Wars, DC, or Marvel. On Sundays, bi-weekly returning is a slice of film with Katie and guest hosts of Mark and Sarah. That's where they take a look at new films or films that they love. So check that out. That's all the shows. DC Alliance, Marvel Alliance, and Star Wars Alliance all go live on the Geekverse YouTube channel. Monday nights for DC Alliance at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Star Wars Alliance goes live at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on Wednesdays. And Marvel Alliance goes live at 10 p.m. Eastern on Thursdays. All three of those shows also have their own podcast feeds. So search Marvel Alliance, DC Alliance, or Star Wars Alliance for just Marvel content, DC content, or Star Wars content. But if you want it all, including the bi-weekly shows as well, stay subscribed to the Geek Ultimate Alliance on your podcast app of choice. We also have a Patreon, 2 tiers, $1 tier and $5 tier. The dollar tier is basically our tip jar. You like what we're doing, you want to help us out. And the $5 tier is where you get your extras, your ad-free episodes, early access episodes, and Patreon exclusive episodes. Clay, I think that was everything. We have some stuff to discuss for news. Also,
Yeah,
did you
I
like
mean,
how I titled some of this? Because I wasn't sure.
oh,
There was some
I
question
loved
marks.
I well, guys, I just want every listener to know, and I know that we've said this before, but Heinz has put in the work when it comes to our show notes here. We were doing it very casually, throwing like a picture here and there, throwing a tweet in there, nothing really formulaic. And then I made a joke in our GOA chat, and Heinz was just disgusted by by the fact that I compared us to business casual compared to business professional, and he's like, oh hell no. And so he's actually been putting in a lot of work with these notes, so I absolutely adore all the work that he has done here. But our first topic of discussion is a little bit of a curveball compared to the content that we've been receiving and who's attached to this, to be completely honest.
Yeah.
The HBO Max is developing an Aqualad series, original. Well, it's not original series. It is based off of a teen graphic novel. If most of you don't know, I think it was probably at the start of 2019, maybe the end of 2018. DC made a really big change to what they were really targeting as far as publishing books. They were doing their mid-grade, like young adult graphic novels. And the reason why they were doing this was because when they did that, they could then publish them and push them out to some of the larger target audience, as far as like going into your retail stores, your Walmarts, your Targets, your Barnes and Noble, your bigger stuff that will get more of the public eye. So this book in particular, I believe, is called. Do you have the title here?
Yeah.
You brought
You
me
brought me
you
the ocean.
Yeah, you brought me into the ocean. This is, of course, the story of uh, uh, who is it? It's Jackson, right? Or yeah, I think it's Jackson Aqualad.
Yeah, Jackson Hyde.
Yeah, uh,
I
he
got it
is, of
right here,
course.
Clay.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
I see it. I see it now. He says,
yeah.
Variety shared the HBO Max is developing a series based on the young graphic novel, like I said, which revolves around the origin story of DC's Aqualad. The outlet further unveiled that the 1 hour dramedy is based on characters from DC. The graphic novel written by Alex Sanchez and Joel Morrow.
Yeah, I think
I
so.
apologize if I pronounced that incorrectly. The HBO Max series is set to explore the life of Jackson Jake Hyde, a gay teenager in New Mexico who falls in love with his classmate Kenny Lee
Lou.
or Lou,
Lou, I think.
while uncovering his superhuman abilities such as breathing underwater and controlling water. Variety mentioned that no writer has been attached to this project, yet Charlize Theron is reportedly attached as an executive producer. This was the wildest name that you could attach to a DC property. Because why? You know?
Yeah, I didn't know she was in the business of making things, Clay. There's a couple things that stand out to me at what you just read. The 1 hour dramedy does not exactly tickle me. first album, but I'm not a big fan of comedy dramas like melded together as much.
I've become a little bit more open to the dramedy type of genre. I mean, I am completely okay with being open about this. You, I know, have kind of dabbled in it because of your fiance, but me and Abby have been watching Bridgerton. She has been catching me up with season 1. I need to catch up in order to watch season 2, of course. That
Girlfriend. I can't afford
girlfriend
a ring. I can't afford a ring pop right now, let alone an engagement ring.
ring pop.
I told her that. I told her when I'm finished school, you'll get your ring. But right now, I couldn't. I could only buy your ring pop. Cutely, she said, "I'd take a ring pop," and I'm like, "No, that's not actually
She's
going to
probably listening to the
happen."
podcast. She's like, Clay said a ring. He said
Yeah,
fiance. What does that mean? What does that mean? I'm sorry. I'm not gonna. I apologize for my miscommunication there.
it'll
But
happen, Clay. I just, like I said, only getting a ring pop right now, so it's just the way it goes.
I mean, side tangent. I proposed to Abby like 3 times without a ring, and she's like, "No, not until you have a ring." And I was like, "God damn it, fine." And then I finally got her a ring, and she said yes. But I I'm leaning more into this genre because it is lighthearted, it is fun. Uh Now there is a question that we have listener related to this topic. It was, I believe, who asked this question? That was related to the Aqualad uh
It was John, I
show.
think. It was John.
John. Okay. Yeah,
John
Jonathan.
Hazelton.
Yeah, Jonathan asked, who would we fan cast for Aqualad with this show? And I can't believe I'm going to recommend this individual because I have yet to see anything that he's been a part of. I don't think I'm a really big fan of his music because I only think I've listened to maybe 2 of his songs. I'm going to say Lil Nas. Sorry. Lil
Okay, I
Nas.
thought I wasn't sure. I was like, like, does Jaden Smith sing? Because I swear to God, I will come in.
No, no.
I will Will Smith slap you
No.
if you.
No,
Okay.
no, no, no. I just think Lil Nas, just because he is a part of the LGBTQ community, he's relatively young. I think he's only 20 years old. I think that he could fit the bill. And from what I've heard from, I think it was Snell saying that, with just a little bit more practice in acting and a little bit more, classwork, I think he could possibly start to act. And so if that's the case, I would say Lil Nas. What about you?
That's not a bad choice. See, listeners, I'm not a good fan caster. Like, that's something I'm not great at because I don't know many actors really, besides the big ones. But I did do a little research on this. I remember there was one guy that stuck out to me from the Maze Runner movies, Dexter Darden. I wouldn't mind seeing him. You're going to need a couple actors, Clay, because you're going to need like to show him younger too. I think I would like it to, even if you did it the way Aquaman did it, where like they showed some of the past but really stayed in the
Mhm.
present. Like if you, but you're going to need that, so you're going to need a couple different actors. But I think perhaps Dexter Darden, and there was another one that was a Disney star. I think it was Brandon Smith was the other guy, and I'm not sure. Like I said, representation matters, so I'm not sure if they're members of the LGBTQ community or not. So, uh, obviously, I'd like for some people like that to get a look too. So I can't. That's a good pull with Nas because that's not something I would have even thought about. But you are 100% right there. So, but those would be my 2 choices, just off of things I've already seen people in, and I don't. I still want to go with someone relatively unknown because I do like that when people pop with their big superhero roles.
Okay, I'm looking at both of them, and they fit the bill. I think they
Mm.
look the part for sure. All in the Game is saying Theron has actually produced a lot, including the Netflix Mindhunter show and the Old Guard, which she does actually star in. And I will say, I actually liked the Old Guard movie. I know that it was kind of had mixed reviews on Netflix. I cannot wait for the second one. I did purchase the graphic novel afterward. It is still a part of my reading for this year, so hopefully I will get to it pretty soon. But I
Wasn't
did not know that.
Mindhunter like a huge show for a year or two? Like I thought it
Yeah, it
ended
was a
too,
huge
maybe.
hit. It was a really,
Like
really big hit. Yeah.
Yeah, like I just to see overall, like I don't want to take what IMDb ranks, but 8.6 is pretty good when I compare it to some of the DCCW shows that
Well,
I.
I know that like I think there was either a director or a writer that was attached to Mindhunter that everybody wanted to be a part of the superhero
Oh,
genre
okay.
whenever it came to both Marvel and DC.
So
So
one wonders if she could pull some of the people behind the scenes from some of those shows to help with this show as well. So like we're not going to dismiss it because it's Charlize Theron. It was just came out of nowhere for us. We weren't really expecting that was huge behind. And like I said before, when I was opening the
David
show,
Fincher, that's the name. That's the name.
there you
I
go.
couldn't remember the
Yeah.
name. David Fincher. Yes.
Like I said before
S-
too, when DC has stuff in development, like we talked about New Gods a lot on this show before, and where's New Gods right now? It's gone. So it's not like Marvel. Like the one thing when Marvel announces that something's coming, I kind of like expect it. Like they say, I thought they said no, that's coming. So now I'm going to expect it sometime, and I will be okay with that. I won't say
the
I'm getting my
only
hopes up.
the I'm a little I'm 50-50 when it comes to that, especially when it comes to HBO Max content, because the only thing as of right now, well, I say only thing, but it's in fact 3 properties, is Green Lantern Corps, Constantine, and Justice League Dark.
I will agree with you on that, Clay.
Is the 3 things that are still way up in the air whenever it comes to HBO Max projects, but everything else as far as HBO Max and DC has been pushed through, you know?
This did not say HBO Max specifically. Unfortunately, this said Warner Brothers Television. So it could be HBO Max because Warner Brothers Television does operate some of their shows on HBO Max. But the other unfortunate thing is some of Warner Brothers Television is on CW. Some of Warner Brothers
I
Television is on.
really hope I would. Hmm.
Dramedy,
I was
Clay.
I was
Dramedy.
about. I know. I was about to say this cannot be on HBO Max, but it fit. I mean, it can't be on CW, but it fits the bill almost to a T. The LGBTQ, uh, you know, community is in there. The dramedy part that's in there. It kind of smells exactly like CW, but hopefully it's not CW. On the game says it's for HBO Max. So I
I
think
haven't.
I think Variety does say it because even in your show notes, dude, you put HBO Max. So I think it is HBO Max.
Okay, the HBO Max series. Okay, yeah. Sorry, my bad there. So
So
that's woohoo, woohoo, dodge that bullet.
woo!
Yeah.
So our next real quick update to the box office of The Batman has come up. The Batman becomes Hollywood's number 3 highest grossing film of the pandemic era globally after grossing 6.6 million this weekend. I believe it was about a 55% drop from what it was previously. And that would be an international cum of 376.1 million, plus the US being 359 for a total of 735. So we were both over. If this is
No,
the
you were
end now,
close. You said 7 to 750. So that's I'm gonna have to give you the thumbs up on that one. You said your ceiling was 750. So I mean, like you can't come
that is
closer than
also true.
here's a range and here's the max I think it can go, and it's 15 million behind that right now. What are we? That's pretty spot
Well,
on.
I think it's quite possible that this is really the last weekend that it's going to make a lot, just because of we are seeing the numbers for Sonic right now, and that looks like it's really blowing up. A lot of people are hearing word of mouth of that indie movie, everything everything, or I can't remember the title off the top of my head,
And
but
unfortunately,
I
everyone's
know.
hearing the word of mouth for Morbius, and it's going the other.
Well, I mean, but even so, that would kind of work for the Batman. Oh, well, I
Yeah.
was going to spend this weekend watching Morbius. It sounds horrible, so let's go watch Batman again. So
I wish I went and watched Batman with my girlfriend rather than watching Morbius straight up. Not gonna lie. I thought that halfway through watching Morbius. It's like, through watching the Batman over there in the couple screens down.
oh man. Now I mean, that's really all we have for as far as the box office. But let's go ahead and jump into kind of our main topic here. Well, first, SBub says Everything Everywhere All at Once is the title of the movie. I know that a lot of people have been talking about it. It is kind of the big thing as far other than Sonic right now. It's a movie that I am very much looking forward to eventually going out to see. I probably won't be able to watch it in theaters right now, but I will be waiting for it to hit streaming services.
One other note: the Batman is coming to HBO Max next week, so
Yes, next
check.
week. That does mean I will probably be watching it again with Abby because she still hasn't seen it,
That
and
does
I
mean
know
I'll
that
be
she.
watching it with my girlfriend as well because she hasn't seen it because I went to Morbius instead. Oh, but I'm really excited about that. I know all in the game. This is something that was going on a lot today. People say like could have gotten 400 million domestic with a HBO Max release. I will tell listeners to go follow Pud33 on Twitter. He put out a fantastic thread of showing how a lot of the movies in the last like 5 years, including Endgame and Infinity War, I think, made most of its total box office like 95, 94, 96% in the first 5, 6, 7 weeks. So that 45-day window, we'll say. So I don't think now, obviously, in game's a little special. You keep making money for a long time. Like there are special cases, but for the most part, I don't think it was going to make that much more
I mean,
domestically.
the only way now for this movie to make more box office money is for some reason, and I honestly don't see them attempting. Well, I I'm putting my foot in my mouth now. The only way that it will make more box office, and I feel like they might actually go through this, is seeing if there's any way for this movie to win, like some sort of award, Oscar, whatever, and then of course it be pushed out in theaters again. I don't think it would be worth it, to be completely honest, unless you want to see Robert Pattinson slap Chris Rock on stage for something. But I mean, other
You
than that,
could you could pull the like MCU style, just put it back out in theaters again and try to get more money. Obviously, they were doing it to beat Avatar, but like as Bob said, throw it out with the Joker scene in there, and
oh,
even
that's
that looks
true.
better than the Hulk
If
walking
you
around in
were
unfinished CGI.
if you do add like a scene in there, I'm sure people will still go, watch it for that. But
Plus,
again, I feel like with those moments, uh I feel like for that though, I think it's still just like a small portion of the fans. I don't know if it will reach that, cross that threshold to get to about 400 million for
yeah,
US domestic box office.
I doubt it, especially with HBO Max in play. Now, the one thing they do is combine the US and Canada box office numbers a lot. That you just say North America, and Canada does not have access to HBO Max. I'm not 100% sure, but I do not think the Batman is coming to Crave, the Canadian streaming service that has the HBO content.
Uh-huh.
So they will have to go to we will have to go. They will have to go to the theaters to watch it. So that's going to be some money going back in, and HBO Max isn't everywhere. So that's the thing that we can think about. But obviously, domestically, its run is pretty much over now. But I think if you can grow subscribers at HBO Max at this point, you'd throw away 5 or 10 million off the total box office for the Batman if you could bring in more subscribers to HBO Max.
Yeah, for sure, for
Yeah.
sure. But let's go ahead and go into our main topic, that being what the fuck is going on with Ezra Miller? I know this is kind of older news now, but I mean, you know us, we're in the very beginning of the week. We miss all the good stuff, all the juicy stuff, guys. But let's go ahead and talk about this. So, Travis, why don't you go ahead and break everything down from us, from our notes here? What exactly went down? Because I know that you were very on edge of like really talking about it and everything else. And so, what's all going on here?
See, it's tough, listeners, because when this story broke on Tuesday, I think of last week, our chat was going nuts. The memes, the Grant Gustin's going like this in front of Ezra's face on the graveyard and everything. I was just like, I want to give it a couple days to like calm it down. Clay really like challenged me because it was just like just like the show notes when Clay said something. It was like Michael Jordan in The Last Dance. I was like, okay, I take that personally. I'm going to do a really good job. Clay said, you won't be able to not comment on this. When I said, I'm just going to sit there and let Clay tell you what he thinks. And I'm like, God damn it, I really want to just sit there and not say anything because I'm challenged to. but you may be right. I will just lay out there. Unfortunately for us, in the time between when this dropped and now, there's a conflicting report, so we're not 100% sure because neither are giving actual sources. So it's like, you know, but I will say Rolling Stones is a bit more of a established entity than IGN. So we'll just say that before I come into
for
that.
sure.
And we specifically did not talk about Ezra's arrest that happened in Hawaii with stuff because there were supposedly conflicting reports about that too. But that stands right now. So according to Rolling Stones, Warner Brothers, Rolling Stones posted this story on Tuesday. Warner Brothers and DC executives held an emergency meeting on March 30th to discuss Ezra Miller's future with the studio. While a decision doesn't appear to have been formalized, one source said the consensus is to hit pause on any future projects involving Miller, including possible appearances in the DC cinematic universe. A source with the studio has rebuked the original report from Rolling Stone, telling IGN that no such emergency meeting took place and dismissing the claims as exaggeration. And I just wrote thoughts on this shit. And listeners, I titled the topic the Ezra shit. So
Question mark.
I don't know, Clay. I just want to say one thing, and I'll let you go. Is that regardless, if they haven't tried to help him before, if they just they just put it into another movie and didn't offer to help, I'm a little disappointed by that. If they tried to help and it didn't work, he didn't want it, then I'm okay with decisions that you're going to throw out. But I just would regardless of if he has a job or not, he does need help. It's kind of easy to see that. So there's a lot of time between now and the Flash airing. So I would hope that somebody somewhere, either family or employer, because you're paying him millions of dollars and you're kind of making him a lynch point of this, we're going in a different direction. So I don't know, but just maybe try and get the guy some help. That's all I'm going to say, because I don't really understand when you get conflicting reports. But I do think you have a couple possible solutions. So Clay, I'm going to let you wrap.
So before I go on to this little rant, I just want to say mental health is very important. It's important to me. I think it's important for everybody. And if you need help, you should always seek help. I think it's very important to do so. In the case of Ezra Miller, we have seen, or not even seen, well, technically we have seen some instances that have been recorded via cell phone footage or whatever, that he has abused people, he has attacked people, regardless of what it is in detail, at face value, he is attacking people. Now, of course, it could be a completely different
or person. Video wise,
there was the choking that we first saw a couple years ago, and then the second was when it was in Hawaii in front of the bar. He was being forceful. He pushed people. There was
there
no
video of that?
Yes, there was.
Oh,
there was.
I missed that. Oh God, I missed that. Sorry.
There was some shoving, some pushing. It looked like it was about to get heated, and the cops were called.
Okay.
So nothing escalated from that, but we don't know exactly what happened inside that bar, because we do know from reports that he was inside there causing a little bit of a ruckus. So it is very clear that something is wrong. I'm not going to diagnose him. I'm not going to say, hey, he has this, so he needs to be looking at this or whatnot. What I will say is that he needs help. And what form of help that is doesn't necessarily fall upon that of WB, but it does fall on Ezra Miller. If he acknowledges the fact that he needs help, then he needs to go get help. But if he acknowledges that he needs help and he refuses, then that's causing more problems, not just for his career, but those that are attached to the projects that he is working on. I mean, we've talked about this in the GUA, saying how Fantastic Beasts, there were other issues tied into that, but there were specific reports saying because of complications of the Flash, Justice League, and Fantastic Beasts, things had to be moved around in the schedule and then set whatever rescheduling they did. We've seen those reports before.
Yeah, but that has nothing to do with anything in that report. That has to do with scheduling at WB. That has nothing. There's nothing ever contribute to him causing problems on set to
No,
cause
no,
those
no,
rescheduling.
but this is but hold on,
You can't speculate. You
I'm
gotta have.
I'm saying that I am using this to say that WB has wanted Ezra to be somewhat of a poster child to say, hey, you're a big star. You are in 2 big franchises. We want you to be our A guy. We want you to be the guy on our team. You're going to be in these 2 franchises. You're going to make us a lot of money. Let's do this. So they've been on Ezra's team, but they haven't really done much in the sense of helping him, clearly. So what I said in the GUA is the best way to then help this individual, that being Ezra Miller, kick him to the curb. I know that sounds so much worse than let him go, fire him.
Empathy is pouring out of you. I've never seen you do this before. It's never backfired and bit you in the bum.
I am saying that this needs to happen so that it forces Ezra Miller's hand to go get help. Because on top of everything, he needs to worry about himself so that way he can get back to these kinds of projects so he can be, once again, that of a poster child, the comeback kid, whatever, right? Because let's face it. Let's say all of this shit is going down, right? Then he goes, gets help. He could possibly be, and I'm not saying that he has the acting skills of this, but that of a Robert Downey Jr. We all know his story. He was an alcoholic. He was abusive with drugs. He was down and out for the longest time. He went to, I believe he did some prison time.
I think so.
And then
he ate a burger. He was going to eat a burger, and I'm not sure what fast food restaurant. So shout out to whatever one it was, but he was going to eat one. It was disgusting. He threw it away and turned his life around. So I did read that part of it. Though, like he was like
he came back, and he's fucking Iron Man. Like he's not Robert Downey Jr. He is Iron Man. People know him for Iron Man. People know him for Sherlock Holmes. He has come back to do some great things. Unfortunately, he is also Dr. Dolittle, but I mean, he's done a lot of great projects. You really can't. But no. For the most part, after what Iron Man was 2008, 8. I think it was 8
or 9, same year as The Dark Knight Rises, I think, or maybe not.
No, not Rises. Sure. It was. Oh shoot, no, I think it was 2006.
No. That's a little too early. I think it's
7.
2008.
It's in that area.
2008.
It was 2008. Okay,
yeah.
Well, 2008. Ever since 2008, I mean, that's 10. That's 14 years. Or sorry, no. Yeah, 14 years. 14 years, and look what he has built. Right. So it was Burger King, like an Iron Man. I did not know that. So that's kind of meta and really, really fucking cool.
And shots fired at Burger King. Total shots fired.
But in the same idea, and again, I don't want to I wouldn't say this to this degree because I don't want to get his hopes up and then him come back and him be not the greatest actor in the world. But he needs to get help so that way DC and WB can say, hey, we cut ties. Let's move on. Let's move this shit forward because they're already shit's in the bag, dude. With everything being switched up on us this year, we were it has been a shit show. DC has been a shit show. We've all known it. We've all talked about it. We want it to be better. I want it to be better. And I think when it comes to the one, it definitely needs to be better after that movie.
It's a hit. We can't deny it. Sorry, listeners. If you're just listening to the podcast, I put the background as the Batman when he said it's bad, just because
it needs to be better. It definitely needs to be better. But I think we shouldn't hold out because of Miller. Honestly, We shouldn't. We should push him off to the side, say, hey, you need help. We will help you find that help, but do not come back until after you've gotten help. Boom.
I that's not a like the last part of that is a fine. Don't come back. Like I just don't think you need to completely like fire him. You can even like suspend him, give him temporary like something, temporary leave of
Okay,
absence, something to
temporary leave of absence. Okay, so everything after the Flash involving Miller, involving the Flash, involving the continuity of his character needs to be put on pause until he's better, until that leave of absence is there. Oh wait, we have plans already for like 3 years to do some stuff. What are we
let's
supposed to
not
do?
pretend that every one of these actors and actresses that have these problems, kinds of problems like this, they go away for 2 years. Let's not pretend that happens. Let's not pretend that the treatment facilities they go to are a year and a half or anything like that. They're 60 days. They're 90 days. They're
Oh,
120
that's it.
days.
That's if they want to leave when they first get the chance to leave.
No, I'm just
But
saying, like, there's like you can we don't know the perfect time. So yes, like I don't know the whole putting things on pause. I think they should do more of a try to get him help. But if you can't get him help before not the Flash, but the next thing after that you have the Flash in mind for, if there's another Flash, maybe whatever. If he can't get back by then I'm okay with recasting. Like you said, you're trying to help him. If he can't get back, that's fine. You maybe down the line you can bring him back. That may be okay. But like
no,
if
see,
you try to help, I'm okay. If you
I
tried to
think
help,
that you should just like let him go. Like I said,
well,
the reason why, and I've said it before, I'll say it again. You have to let him go thinking that there is no return, so that way he's like, fuck,
this
I
isn't the
really need to
MCU
get
though,
shit.
Clay. Like these no misstep after misstep after misstep. You know, WB is not the best at saying we were wrong. We made a mistake. That's how we got. That's how we got in this mess. They keep doubling down on the no. We're right. We're not. We're so I in a sane world, yes, they would just be like, "Oh, you think okay, Terrence Howard, you think you're the star of this show? Don Cheadle, you're in. Terrence Howard, you're out." Like I can see that happening, but not. I'm not confident in the leadership, so I'm going to have to see new leadership, and I don't think any decisions are going to be made until post merger. Like this
Hey,
merger has to settle
so
down as well.
well today, I believe today, the day that we are recording this on Monday, was Warner Brothers Discovery's first day
First
of
day,
business.
yeah.
So today is you got to take one step at a time. And I mean, I hope that we start to see some improvement, but we'll see.
We don't
And
know.
I do think that some of that improvement means kicking Miller to the curb, though.
See,
So
one could say that, and I do understand. It's just I'd have to know some more stuff. Like, did you know about this and ignored it and pushed him into another franchise instead? Like, I need to know some things. If you did that kind of stuff and didn't get him help, I'd rather you give him a leave of absence. If you tried to get him help
now,
multiple times and he
was there
hasn't,
reports of him having issues or him being
see,
problematic in other
no,
filmings?
and there's one thing the Rolling Stones said during this was really weird in the Rolling Stones article because they said that he had outbursts, but he said
He had meltdowns, but
yes,
it
but he
wasn't
wasn't
violent.
violent or loud or anything at people. Like it wasn't directed towards anyone, just
Do you know what
himself.
it sounds like? It sounds like deep fucking depression because
Pressure too, Clay.
the
Pressure, like
and stress. No, the
yeah.
way they described it, it was like he was just shutting down, and then he would outwardly ask, "What am I doing here? What am I doing with my life?" Like that is a mental breakdown for one, and possibly a midlife crisis. The dude just turned 30, I think. Like he is I'm right there with you.
Hey,
Trust me.
what are they like, Clay? Okay, that's it for today. Everyone get back tomorrow. Ezra, you were great. We'll see you tomorrow. No, I don't know, right? I need to know more information. That's what I'm doing with this whole thing. I need to know more stuff. Did WB try to help him more? Or like I said, did they just say like, oh, you just forget about it. You know what'll help you? More money and another role in a different franchise. Harry Potter here. So I need to
Here's
know
some
those things.
drugs. Here's something that one actor took when he was depressed on my set. There you go. Have some fun. Now, let's move on with the movie. That's how I feel like things went.
See, that's what I'm scared of. That's why I don't want to just completely throw out in the cold. I'm just afraid, just from personal experience. I've seen it go both ways that way, where it has spurred the person on to go get their own help. I've also seen it the other way, where they ended up downtown homeless. So I'm of two minds with that, because it doesn't work same for everyone. But I'm not the one to make decisions. I'm glad I'm not David Zaslav and have to worry about this when one of your big banner movies is in their back, and you have a guy that I don't even know how you can bring him out for press without everything going to be asked, unless you say
That's going to be
beforehand.
interesting.
Unless
So,
you say beforehand, like Ben Affleck had times where he would say like, "No J Lo, I'm press," after the breakup and stuff like that when he was doing
yeah.
press junkets. But I don't know if you got that power now, Clay, because there's so many different press junkets, and everyone wants that one 30-second soundbite to make them go viral. That I don't know how you get out of somebody not asking that.
Yeah.
Some like asking about that. So that's another whole can of worms that I don't know. It's just not
Look at it this way.
possible.
We have 5 to 6 months into the next fandom. We'll see what happens then.
He could get arrested 2 more times, but I mean, or he could get help and be completely fine. I don't know. That's the thing. I don't know, listeners. I don't know
But
what's
that's the
going
thing.
on.
We either get only Keaton and Muschietti showing like the debut of the actual trailer, because I don't care what you say, that wasn't a trailer at the fandom.
Oh God, no, that was a teaser.
And then, or we actually see Ezra and we either see him coked out or super depressed. So, I mean,
Or just like we seen him last at fandom pre-recorded, that could be a possibility as well. But I think, like I said,
groomed. Hey, we're gonna feed you these lines. You say this, and you don't say anything else.
You said something that did stick out to me, which is that you know, I think they could get him help in the time frame before the next movie, because it is quite a while. But like I said, I don't know how you get out of not talking about that stuff. It's just we'll see, Clay. We'll see. But you don't. There's no playbook for this stuff. All we can say is, of course, with DC, this stuff we had such a good. We were going into such momentum when I walked in and sat into the Batman. I was like, "Holy crap, this is awesome!" And did Peacemaker ended before the Batman, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay, so ever since then, everything minus that episode of Superman and Lois with Jordan channeling his inner Smallville, everything but that has been crap for DC. News, everything. That teaser trailer nonsense, where all the movies got bumped back, that all happened after the Batman.
Oh,
And
2022 in DC or whatever it was. DC in 2022.
and then we're
Whatever
getting
the
these
thing
hits.
was. Yeah.
It doesn't stop. So yeah, we don't know what they're going to do with that, but I'm sure they'll do something, Clay.
Hopefully, man. I like you said, it's gonna be very awkward when and I know interviewers see this is why you could never ask me to interview somebody professionally, because I would be the smart ass to ask the stupid questions. I would just be, hey, Ezra, what the fuck's going on? Or hey, Keaton, did Ezra ever show any problems with, the year of heroes? Yeah.
You
Same
don't need to
damn
get
thing.
Michael Keaton to hate you too. Like, you could just focus on asking Ezra the questions, like the branch over and try to suck Michael Keaton into that. Like, just keep him at the distance. Be like, you're a good vulture.
Especially at the end of
I don't,
Morbius.
I don't have beef with you, but
Oh
Clay,
man.
we did get some listener questions to help us get through this slow news week, and I have them here if you want. And we're going to start off with the person that's in the chat right now, S-Bubs, who asks, will any DC movie in the next 6 years have a better soundtrack, not score, soundtrack, than Suicide Squad 2016? Because say what you want about the movie, but that soundtrack is undefeated for 6 years by any DC movie, and honestly, most movies in general. All the songs are bangers. Yes, even Purple Lamborghini. That song is awesome, and no one can convince me otherwise. He said the music video, that's another story.
Now, I will be completely honest. Other than Suicide Squad, what other movie has put out like
I got
a
you.
legit soundtrack other than
Got
Justice
you
League?
two. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1 and Volume 2. Bangers,
Okay, but
bangers,
I'm pretty sure
bangers.
he was talking DC. This is DC.
Okay, sorry. I just
Um,
not. He said, did he say comic book in general or? Yeah,
I
what
think he's
DC
at
movie? Sugar
DC.
Shacks. Uh,
Uh,
the
I
next James Gunn movie.
I mean, the Suicide Squad still had a soundtrack. I don't know if I really like loved that soundtrack, to be completely honest. I know that it was written well into the movie, but as far as me enjoying that soundtrack, I don't really think so.
It's not I know we were talking DC, but like I said with Guardians, it was like the heart of the film was part of the soundtrack.
Yeah.
So it's hard. Like that is my favorite one. I suppose it's right. I've listened to a lot. I listened to that. I think that might have been the only album that I listened to pre watching the film
Yeah.
and love.
Espo says the Suicide Squad soundtrack was like 50-50 for him.
Yeah, some of the highs, like Espop said, the highs were very high, but there were a couple low ones on there. Whereas the one I said, so I don't know, Espop. Like my nomination will be James Gunn of the directors I know that can blend together a pretty good soundtrack. But
You know what? I'm going to go ahead and predict. I'm going to go ahead and predict it because I think it has potential. It knows the sandbox that it's working in. I'm going to say Fury of the Gods will be the next. I think Shazam 2 Fury of the Gods will be the next bigger soundtrack movie.
You know what I would like to see? Like some sort of some sort of big fight song at the very end of the movie in post credits where Shazam steps up to face down Black Adam and then it cuts off.
See, even Espub says Shazam was really good as well.
Yeah,
But
and
I
Birds of
Birds of
Prey had a
Prey.
good soundtrack as well. That is true. There are some. You know what, Clay? I will throw out another thing. HBO Max, Batgirl, Blue Beetle. I think having these young up and coming directors
Oh,
jumping
Blue
in with
Beetle.
these soundtracks, I think that you could get some hella soundtracks that we're not even.
Okay,
I love ones that we're
I'm
not.
still gonna keep Shazam 2 as the next one, but I'm gonna put my money on Blue Beetle. That's who
Like I
I'm
said,
gonna
I
put my
think
money on.
Batgirl is going to be very surprising too. I bet you. I think the Batgirl one will be surprising as well.
Well, who was it that is directing the Batgirls movie? They also directed oh shoot, who they I know they did something else superhero related.
Give me 2
Shoot.
seconds.
And I'm trying to think of their soundtrack. I know. Well, wait, isn't it? They did Miss Marvel. Did they do Miss
Uh,
Marvel?
Not as of
No.
right
Or I
now.
think they wrote some of Miss Marvel. I think is what they did.
Writer.
It's
Yeah,
I
they
can't
did.
remember.
Yeah, you're right. Miss Marvel TV miniseries, 2 episodes in post production, not out yet.
Okay.
Episodes 1 and episode 6.
Okay, but what other properties have they done?
Bad Boys for Life.
Bad Boys for Life had an okay soundtrack, to be honest. It wasn't my favorite Bad Boys movie, but the soundtrack wasn't bad. So I could see Batgirl having a pretty good soundtrack.
And we also have to see how how Discovery shells out the money for things because
Yeah.
all this stuff adds up, even soundtracks. So that's a pretty interesting question there, Spubs. Snell jumping in, basically under what Spubs was sharing about Joker, Jared Leto. He says, if he was in DC Super Pets, what type of animal and or breed would Jared Leto's Joker be?
This is such an easy question. I don't know why this was even asked. He's a hyena.
I have 2 thoughts. I also shout out to Taylor Fields, who shared that I personally equate him from Spy Kids would make one a heck of a Super Pet edition, and It's half spider, half
The Minotaur spider looking thing,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
I personally, Clay, honestly, I'm thinking he could be an Animorph, like legit Jared Leto Animorph into a
Jesus
uh,
Christ.
animal. I hate those books; they were so creepy growing up. Just this person turning into the animal, and also I'm going with Skinny Goro. I don't know if Goro's actually an animal. I'm calling it an animal, and it's basically inspired by Taylor's picture. I'm calling it Skinny Goro. That's what I would go
Jeez. Oh
with.
man. Now,
Hyena obviously is the most logical choice.
hyena, snake, I mean, we've seen him medieval times be turned into a dragon, but like I would think hyena. Easiest
Yeah.
answer there. What other questions do we
Okay.
got?
We have one from your co-host on Star Wars Alliance, Katie, who asked, "What would be your dream Star Wars and DC collab?" And Clay, let me jump in because I have two. I was thinking about this earlier today, Katie. I love the question. I went back and forth on so many different people, but obviously the first and foremost will be Batman and Yoda. I would love to see two of them go on an adventure. Batman get displaced in time to where Yoda is, time and space, and Yoda's not exactly super old. Somewhere in like he's still active. So I love to see two of them go out on a mission. And obviously Green Arrow and Han Solo. Uh, Obviously they'd be down for the stealing from the rich part, but Han Solo is not going to be on board for giving back to the poor. So I'd love to see how that all that would go down as well. So that those are my two choices. There were some I had a Princess Leia Wonder Woman thought, but
Well, it's got to be pretty. I feel like the answer is pretty simple for me. You have the Death Star destroying Krypton, and then Superman landing on that of
oh
S says
boy.
Batman Ninja Star Wars edition. Uh, but Superman landing on uh Tatooine, having two sons. I mean, the dude's gonna be super
Oh
powerful at
my
that point.
god, he'd be like lifting the planet, like go.
And then, I mean, he be the chosen one. He train as a Jedi as well as having the Superman powers. I mean, I'm unstoppable.
Darth Vader
Unstoppable.
comes out with the lightsaber, and Superman just heat visions him in half. Like,
Well, no,
what
like
am I using? What am I using this for?
we still like Luke Skywalker is still a part of the story and everything, but like Superman still has like a bigger story because like yeah, and like Anakin is Luke's father and all of that. There's a lot of family drama. I mean,
Can Darkseid
Superman
be
lost
working
a
with
planet. He lost
Palpatine?
a
Can
home.
Darkseid be working with Palpatine? Because that'd be awesome.
I could see something like that. You know, well actually I could see just because recently in comics, in action comics right now, there's a really good story with Mongol and Warworld. I could actually see Warworld being the Death Star.
I have one question, completely side tangent. That is awesome, but your Warworld just sparked me. Did Vandal Savage take Warworld from Mongol in Young Justice, or did he just
Yes.
have it? He took it
No,
from
he
him, didn't
he
he?
he took it. I
Okay.
think that there was specifically an episode in Young Justice where like Team Beta or Delta, it was Superboy, Arsenal, Cassandra, and I think Blue Beetle and one other person uh went to Warworld and they fought Mongol and they like beat him and they took control of Warworld, but then something happened to where Savage was like took it. So I'll have to rewatch it to really.
Same, like, but I like when you say that, that's the first thing that came to mind.
But yeah,
Yeah,
I would say instead of Darkseid, have Mongol work with Palpatine, and they just adapted Warworld to be the Death Star.
ooh, actually, that's probably a lot safer than Death Star because it has that one fatal flaw. Okay, Clay, Hunter Costello asks us if you had to pick a Kevin Feige for the DCU, who would it be?
So I did at one point say that it should be a two-person job, not just a one-person job. Because having one individual with that much power, we've all seen Star Wars before. Um,
Are you saying Kevin Feige's going to turn into like a Sith
Palpatine,
Lord?
yes.
Okay,
Um,
not just wanted to know, just wanted to make sure. That's all.
um, but I think that it should be a two-person job. And the reason why I say that is, like I said, too much power over one person having the green light, red light, that's a lot of power. I think that it should be a collaboration. That being said, I think it should be Jim Lee and somebody else. Who that somebody else is, I have no idea. I am not really big in knowing a whole bunch of producers to be able to say, oh, this is the person you need. I know that there was a lot of people when the talk of like a DC Studios was coming around on Twitter. They're like, oh, that needs to be separated from WB. They need to do their own thing, which I still think they should. People were saying, oh, Jim Lee and Deborah Snyder, let's have those two collab, and maybe we get the Snyderverse and all of that. I don't know if I know a lot of Deborah's work other than the stuff that she has collaborated with Zach to be like, yeah, let's fucking do it.
Couldn't pick her because I wouldn't.
I don't know her work, so I'm not gonna just say it just because she's married to Zach. So I think I would need a little bit more research on this, but I think it should be a collaboration with Jim Lee. Jim Lee is in the business of comics. He knows the continuity of things. He knows the characters. And I think that it could work out very well.
I like that choice. S-Bubs says Filoni and Favreau. S-Bubs, I would agree, but I want to hear what they speak about DC before they take the project. Because when you hear them speak about Star Wars, you can hear the passion and that they love the characters. So I'm like, okay, I can get on board with someone that, I might not like their vision, but I can tell they love the character.
Oh, and you know what? I would actually say, Jim Lee, if you're listening, we can do the collab. You just hire me. I would really love that. Like,
can we keep Jim Lee? Can we keep him?
6 or 7, figure salary? I'm all for it.
Can we keep his hands out of the Batman universe? That's all. Let's just keep.
Oh no, you should definitely put me in. You should definitely put me into Batman. I will totally make it a lot better.
S-Bob said, I think Zach and Deborah both. I think they produced on every single DC film. Maybe not every single one, but
everything except for the Batman. I think everything that touches their production company that got their characters.
Me personally, Clay, I struggle with this. I'm terrible at this. Personally, I would say I like Jim Lee. I'd go Jim Lee with Kevin Feige's right hand man. I'd snake Kevin Feige's right hand man away from him, or right hand woman, right hand person, whoever's second to the chair. That when like Feige's sick and he kind of call in, they run the meeting. Give me that person.
I don't even know who that person would be.
I don't either, but I'd rather somebody that I don't know their names. I don't need somebody that's going to be like, look at me, look at the universe I'm creating. No, you be behind the scenes. Kevin Feige, for all his, he's not exactly like only when like to promote a movie or a streaming service. Like he's not out there saying like, look at all this universe I created. He's kind of like humble about it, which is something I enjoy. So that would be a nice touch for me, his right hand man. And Hunter Costello also asked us, he did delete it, but I want to answer this just for fun. He asked us who our ideal MCU X-Men lineup would be in the MCU. We did ask the question for listener questions. We didn't specify DC, so I gotta say, Cyclops, Rogue from X-Men the animated series, like with that power set from Miss Marvel, Juggernaut, and Iceman. And you want to know why I picked those characters? Because all of them together make up Superman's powers.
Jeez. I would say that I would have to pick characters that we have not seen on screen before. Because I want to see something new in Marvel. So DC would be run by a second-hand Kevin Feige. I guess so, in the world of Heinz, for sure. So as far as X-Men in the MCU, I would have to say a lot of my favorites are characters that we've already seen on screen, so it's really hard to say. Just because you
can make up another hero's powers like I did.
I want him to be done correctly. And I think he was done correctly, just in the wrong movie. I need Gambit. I need Oh shoot! I just read an X-Men book like this past week. I read two. Come on, Clay, think. So Gambit. Then I would have to choose uh Emma Frost. I know we've technically seen her before. Uh,
You need the
then I,
nerd.
huh?
You need the nerd.
Uh, freaking who? Shoot, who's the character that everybody said was done dirty in First Class because he died when his powers are
Oh, the
uh
stone, the guy that turned into stone. I can't remember his name.
and then Kevin Bacon blew him up from the inside out when that's not supposed to happen. Shoot, I just read his story like in the beginning of freaking the shutdown in 2020, and I
It's
can't
actually
remember his
good
name.
for our DC show that you're forgetting X-Men, so that's
Yeah,
really good
yeah,
for
yeah.
us.
So there's that. Then I would have to do Sunspot for uh number 4, and then number 5, Darwin. Yes,
Yes,
Darwin would
Bob,
be
you
my
know
third.
everything.
Uh Sunspot would be number 4, and then number 5, X-23 Laura
Okay.
is what I would like Laura's Wolverine. Um So that would be my 5-person team for X-Men. Because
Well,
you need a Wolverine, but I don't want uh freaking Logan. So
yeah, I'm open to seeing another interpretation of that, but I don't know if we'll get that for a while. But that was DC's take on Marvel. Sorry, Marvel wise, but we kind of threw that out there. And bravo to Hunter. I gotta say, I wish you didn't delete the comment after, but bravo to you. That was just a nice job because we asked for questions. We didn't specify, so bravo, sir. You got us on that one. So Clay, we have just a couple. I'll get you with a rapid fire of the final couple things we had to discuss tonight. Harley Quinn season 3 producer confirms release date window, like a window. In a tweet, Patrick Schumer, the producer, said he's not allowed to tell like what specific time it's going to air. I also find it funny that he knows when this is going to air, whereas Greg Wiseman with Young Justice has no idea half the time what's going on with the show on HBO Max. They don't tell him basically anything. He said, but he did throw out a little hint that it's going to be in the time of the year that rhymes with summer. So, you know, summer
now
this year.
did he say this year though,
Yeah,
or it just
2022.
okay.
Confirming that Harley Quinn season 3 will premiere on HBO Max in summer of 2022.
With no trailer yet?
Yeah.
That's
Weird with animation because normally you'd have a couple episodes to
way
be
to
able
go,
to.
WB. Way to go.
Yeah, like I just don't understand. The Netflix model works on Netflix because they have outrageous amount of subscribers. You don't have enough subscribers to not promote your stuff before you throw it on there. That's
I mean, they don't even promote new seasons of their show.
no. It's
So like
which does
I've watched, I think it was, what's the show, Love Story?
yeah.
I didn't even know season 2 was out when it came out last year. So like I was like, what the hell? Like
Yeah,
they need a better marketing team for that app for sure.
Jeremy Irons will reprise his role as Alfred for the Flash movie. We didn't know that. That's from viewer Anon.
I mean,
He's a C tier on the Travis Snell scooper list. I think maybe B.
I'm excited to see more Jeremy Irons. For how long? I don't know.
Fun fact: we've never gotten a bad Alfred, in my opinion.
Oh no, we
No.
I mean, there was in Titans. He almost
We
killed
have an
himself.
Alfred?
He burned his mansion
Oh,
down.
okay, yeah. I get you.
He killed
I
the
get
Joker.
I get the joke.
I
Yeah.
mean, pretty bad Alfred in my eyes. So
It's like the polymerization Alfred and Bruce Wayne to one person. No, I'm just joking. Alfred would have been way nicer to his people than Bruce was in Titans. And we have a official poster for DC Super Pets that basically shows us the superheroes that are going to be involved. We have Superman, Flash, Wonder Woman, Batman, and Jessica Cruz, Green Lantern, and they all have their pets to go with that.
yeah, I mean, I look at this lineup and I'm just like, what is going on with the Flash? His design looks really weird.
Did
The
he have a
more the
pig or turtle? I mean, I never knew he had a turtle.
the
Just like
more
a
I
golden
look at
age.
Batman, the more I look at Batman, the more I'm just convinced it's Mr. Incredible with a Batman costume on. Uh, I mean, look at that chin. That is
Honestly,
Mr.
Clay,
Incredible.
I thought it was someone took the Beware the Batman design and said, "Here, stretch it out and do some things with it. Change some color, make it a little different so that we don't 100% notice." But it looks a lot like the Beware the Batman design, but
No.
stretched out
I
face and
think it's supposed to be the Rebirth costume because it has the yellow outline on everything. So, well, I think the Beware the Batman actually had the yellow outline
yeah.
to be honest. So
It
that
kind
might
of
be
reminds me of it a little bit, just not as good. I don't know if we'll see this movie, listeners.
no.
I don't think there's
No.
going to be a fight between superhero discussions and DC Alliance on who covers this, but I don't know if it'll be covered by either. I just want to say one other thing
It's
before we
animation.
go.
You got dibs on animation.
I was doing some looking. I was looking up today, and Constantine House of Mystery is coming out on the 3rd of May. I will be reviewing that as just a DC animated short, but it's supposed to tie into Justice League Apocalypse War. It's supposed to
Oh,
be what happens
really?
after, and potentially what I think is going to tie the Apocalypse War together with the new continuity that we have, and somewhere down the line we're going to get
Which
a
we haven't had any really
crisis.
update in that timeline either. When
The
was the
last
last
thing we
animated
got
movie?
was the Batman Long Halloween, and in the end credit scene, Flash and a couple other heroes show up at Batman's door, and it's the same Flash from the other two films that we saw. Well, the other film,
Interesting.
JSA, yeah.
Interesting.
So I'm interested to check it out because they specifically say in the trailer that like the spirits that you change everything by going back, and it shows the scene from Apocalypse War. So I'm really hoping, and the design of Constantine is so much like the design of all the like new movies we're getting, that
Yeah.
animation style. So I really think that that's how it's going to be. I'm really interested. So just wanted to just throw that out there. I'll probably be covering that. So check that out on Superhero Discussions.
All right. Well, that is it for the show tonight. Thankfully, I did not have to stand for 2 hours this time. But with that, guys, thank you so much. Thank you, S Bubs, for being very lively in the chat on the game. I know you were here earlier in the show. Thank you for being here as well. Of course, you can always find me at Fanboy Clay on Twitter. Check in the bio there. You can find the link tree to all the shows that I host, that including DC Alliance, Batman News Weekly, Ranger Alliance, and of course Star Wars Alliance. I will say Patreon content this month. Me, Joe, and Jake got together and talked about the modernization of Power Rangers and their costumes and whatnot. We got a little sidetracked with some other customization of how the aesthetic of the show could really be appealing to a greater audience on Netflix. So we talk a little about that, but also little news that we got today. There is a cast of the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers going to be in the 30th anniversary show, which we thought was a Netflix premiere, but who knows? So that's going to be interesting. We will be talking about that in our next episode. So go check that out as well.
I bet you'll be so excited to see JDF talk.
Oh, no, it's not him. It's not him. Thank God. Thank God.
You're like, original cast. Suck it.
Exactly.
But, yeah.
Exactly. He was not original. He was
Listeners,
an add.
I just gotta say, I was listening to Ranger Alliance. It came out last week. I was listening to it the other day while walking my dog, and somehow they got on the topic of something, and Clay was like, it's Jason David Frank's fault," and I busted out laughing in the middle of my walk with my dog. It was so funny. I was like, it's just out of
You can
nowhere.
always blame anything on Jason David Frank.
But
Murder, anything.
Actually, there's one other Ranger you can blame for that for. I only know that because I watched that episode Forever Red, and he was like supposed to be the next one handing the baton. That really worked out well. But you can follow the show on DC Alliance GUA. You can follow me on Travis_156. You can also email the show at DCAlliancePodcast@gmail.com. And like I said, follow the GUA on Twitter at GUA Pod Network. You can tweet the show, send us emails. We love feedback. That's always greatly appreciated. Shout out to everyone who gave us questions that really helped with the slow news week. Feel free to tweet, like I said, tweet and email the show. Please rate and review the show. That helps us so much. we'll chat with you guys next week. There's no Superman and Lois. They went on hiatus forever. No, they'll be back by the end of April sometime. Only thing I'll positive about that is I'm in finals next week, so I'm glad that it's in hiatus next week. But that's the only week.
And it means less time standing in this closet for the rest of the week. So,
and I got to try and not rant about Superman and Lois's scheduling, because every time I talk about it, I really get frustrated. So we're going to move on and end the night. Thank you, listeners, for joining us. Like Clay said before, we'll catch you guys on the flip side.
See ya.